Welcome, Karthik. It is pleasure to have you back here in different forum. Yes, you were in the class. You were part of PfMP mentoring program, and you learned a lot in the whole 6 week session. Then and you passed the exam, and here you are. And I'm very happy and thrilled to announce that you are now PfMP. You got your PfMP on 9th of September 2021. So people who do not know about PfMP, let me tell you, this is one of the most prestigious certificate for the portfolio managers. So this is coming from PMI, Portfolio Manager Professional,
Right.
PfMP. And so this is, as I said, it's most prestigious certificate. Certification was started in 2013. So in 8 years, we still have 1100. What that means is this is one of the rarest certificate. Okay, so and that tells you a few things here. One is, yes, this certificate is not easy. Not everyone can do, and but if you are committed, and if you are committed, this certificate can be very easy for you. All right. So the reason we have less number of PfMPs does not signify, does not make any meaning for the importance of this certificate. There are a few reasons. One is, as any certificate introduced, people get time to take time for them to know the importance of the certificate, and that's the kind of journey we have seen for PMP and then PgMP and now PfMP. And other thing is, now people are becoming more and more aware. And if you are in US, in Canada, and few other countries, you can start seeing the requirements on the job market. The senior management roles, the organizations start asking for PfMP, so which is it's a good sign. And if you have done PfMP and you are into the process of becoming PfMP, then this is the right certificate for you. All right. So as I said, this is one of the rarest and very what do you call, important certificate. And if you can get this, I think your journey towards the senior management is almost set. Of course, there are other parameters as well, which we have to see or consider. So thank you, Karthik, first of all, for accepting me as your mentor, while there are a few other people around the world. And you selected me and make me feel proud of having you as my mentee. You did whatever I expected, and you got your result. And the best thing is you got above target result. Overall, on all the 5 domains, you got above target. So it's very rare to see to have this kind of results. So that shows that you were very prepared, you were very ready, and your mindset was as per PMI's expectation, and you did the job whatever I was expecting from you. So you helped me to maintain my 100%, not only pass, but 100% with our target pass. So I don't think I should be asking anything more for my students. So 72 out of 72. So it's great to have this kind of certificate, and thank you for going all the way and completing the certificate. So with no further delay, I'd like to introduce Karthik Srinivasan. He's currently in Toronto, Canada. So Karthik, congratulations. Well done. You deserve all kind of respect and applaud. And I'm very happy that you have completed your journey.
Thank you, Dharam. Thank you for the introduction and kind words. The credit should go to you for guiding not just me. You have an incredible record of 72 PfMPs in the marketplace. So, and as you can see that I'm still I've still not gotten out of the exam mode. That's why I'm writing portfolio management plans and other things. So it's still stuck in the brain. But it was an enjoyable journey with you. And I'm about to walk through for the benefit of others what the journey entails and how you guided me towards this success. If needed, then you tell me. I can share my final above target scorecard that they gave me as a printout.
So look, we have seen your print like the result. It's no need, and if somebody definitely want to see they can always come back to you. But it's the 5 out of 5 is a good thing. 5 domains, and you got above target. All right. So thank you for accepting my invite to share your knowledge and your journey of PfMP. It's not everyone ready to do that. You accepted that because it's not easy to come out of your comfort zone and write something and present something and make other people useful. Make your journey can be inspiration to many other people. So that's the intention of this recording, and hope more and more people can find this useful, and they can not only use for themselves and also tell other friends and colleagues to learn from this informative session. So with no further delays, let's get started. And and over to you, Karthik.
Thank you. So I just wanted to share a very quick thing about me, my profile. It all starts with what is that I want to do. And I'm in the marketplace to prepare and position organizations for tomorrow's success, tomorrow's situations, and tomorrow's marketplace conditions. And with COVID coming in, and with the markets dynamically changing, what I thought was, I took a stock of who I am and where I want to go, and how does PfMP fit into my journey. And that was the stage when I gave Dharam a call and said, Dharam, I have few options in front of me. For example, I just got out of a big strategic financial crimes reduction program. What is it? And my ambition is to become a trusted advisor to the C-suite. Instead of becoming an accidental portfolio manager, I want to be a real professional portfolio manager and manage portfolios and align it to the organization priorities, and involve myself as a sounding board. I may not be directly responsible for framing organization strategy yet, but at least I want to be part of, they call me as a trusted advisor to say, hey, this is the priorities. And then I can be involved, but actually take them through the priorities. That's where my purpose for PfMP started. And I remember that call that I gave to Dharam, and Dharam was kind enough to listen to my rambling for a few minutes, like how he's patiently listening now, and then said, Karthik, I think you're trying to do PfMP. You already have PMP and you already have PgMP. Go back and start putting PfMP in your roadmap for your skill development. So I did take a couple of days time after his initial meeting, and in the initial introductory session, I found Dharam to be very reliable for many reasons, and he enrolled me in the best possible program. As a matter of fact, the program was at 10 o'clock my time and 7 o'clock his time on a Friday evening, because there were a global participants. And 10 o'clock on a Friday evening, either I'm playing tennis or watching movies. So I said to myself that if this is what it takes as a commitment, and if this is what it has as commitment, I would go for it. And it used to go. The duration of the class was what, Dharam? Never just 2 hours. You never used to have for 2 hours. We used to have discussion after 2 hours. So it would go till 10 o'clock his time, or probably 1 o'clock my time, or into Saturday early mornings. Right. So it was very enthralling. And during that period, he took the entire, the class size was not big, and he's not one of those person who would say, oh, I need a minimum batch size of 5 to start. No, if there are enough people, they are prime and ready, he is always on the go. So we decided to make most advantage of it. And one thing you would definitely find with Dharam is that he will coach you to think like a portfolio manager. And that I benefited out of it. So it was my career ambition and what I wanted to do and what I already have the skills. Plus Dharam's coaching took me into PfMP. Dharam, you want to add anything?
Yeah, so it is actually the kind of sacrifice you did, and especially Friday night. Most people like to take it. I don't know. Nowadays, nobody goes to pub, but yes, going out, having friends around, especially night, 10 o'clock to 10, 12, and up to 1 o'clock. It's a big sacrifice. So that shows that commitment, and that you are really committed to do something extraordinary. And I was very excited to have you in the program. And yes, that was a little bit unfortunate because I had another person from UAE, and the time was something. We have to agree on something. I mean, believe it or not, I have people who people they are joining the class at 3 o'clock in the morning. Because
Yeah, no, I
one is
enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I mean,
yeah,
don't be apologetic for this because I thoroughly enjoyed
yeah,
that discussion and a complete different perspective of putting me into that. So
yeah,
well rewarded. I was well rewarded for that. Now,
yeah,
I'm going to move to the next slide if you don't mind.
yeah. Please go ahead.
My journey started with wanting to become, there was a lifelong learner attitude in me.
Yeah,
And that is a choice that everybody makes. Not everybody can be gifted not everybody has the skill to assimilate the learning or gifted enough to learn and know things. I do not know if I'm gifted and skilled, but definitely I made a choice at every point of time in my life. So that is something that I brought to the table, my earnestness and enthusiasm to learn. So PfMP rightfully fitted in at that juncture of my time when I wanted to move from just managing deliverables to managing strategic initiatives to managing or implementing methodologies in the organization. Many organizations were moving from traditional waterfalls into agile, and my agile certification definitely helped them guide through select the best methodology and others. uh, I was in a situation where I wanted to take the organization into the next level of transformation, which is preparing them for the next gen capabilities, be it adding new capabilities, technologies, and so on. And PfMP fitted in very rightfully in that because it allows you to manage different portfolios and align to particular strategy. As an example, I was doing financial crimes reduction. I managed multiple portfolios, but I could see that how organizations' vision in attracting the profitable and less risky customers aligned with each of the portfolio components what I had, and PfMP rightfully fitted in. And Dharam's training took me into a structured methodology that helped me attain this certification. Dharam, you want to say something?
No, all good. So you did well. To 2008, you got PMP. 2009, and yeah, and you said you were in the pilot group and early stage of PgMP. So that was itself, challenging in those days. But then after 12 years, you got into PfMP. Yeah, that journey shows. And yes, as you said, life learning. Life is about learning. The moment you stop learn, that's where you start aging. So
Yeah.
if you want to stay alive, guys, anybody watching, so keep learning. Anything you find nowadays, there's so many sources. Whether you want to learn professional things or maybe learn something new skills, anything that will keep you alive mentally, physically, spiritually. So continue with the journey. Nice.
And interesting enough that my journey with PMI started in SFO. When I landed in SFO, all along I was doing courses like Six Sigma, being a black belt, and all of that. PMI was at every stage market forces determined what I needed to do. I was able to predict what through good mentors like yourself, Dharam. At every stage, everyone came and guided me. Hey, I think the market is moving towards PgMP. Like I mentioned, Pav Manocha, one of my mentor, wherever he's in California too. he guided me like, Karthik, you're so primed for doing program management now. Your mindset has slowly changed. You need to manage interdependency. At every stage, mentors like you came into my life, Dharam, and I'm very thankful to Almighty for that, to guide me into this kind of learning. Now, I want to focus a bit on PfMP. I want to focus on PfMP because many of the audience would be interested in PfMP.
Exactly.
And once again, my approach to PfMP was, I want to summarize that into 4 P's. One, purpose. Why PfMP, which we already talked about, so I won't focus much on that. How do I get there? So for me, getting the certification, so there are 2 boundaries. One, tactical boundary, one strategic boundary. Tactical boundary is to get the certification. Strategic boundary is to develop a mindset. And this 2 will happen together, right? And Dharam, you remember the first class, you accidentally mentioned or unintentionally or subtly mentioned, I should say, guys, your journey doesn't stop after getting PfMP. It is actually begins because you start implementing it, refining it, and become better and better and better. And that's why the PDUs continued learnings PDUs are important. So with that in mind, we started doing the plan, and at this stage, the way I got a help from mentor like you was to set, to clearly say what is required to get to the certification and what is an optimal time given my situation. And that is something that many of them either are too aggressive or too relaxed, and you applied the right heat and right reasonableness to come up with a plan. And so, success to you there. 4 things I want to mention here is that when we are planning, and we will talk about that a little later, is that without this plan, without this roadmap, just jumping into the course, we will not be able to leverage. The plan will force us to prepare and leverage every class, every opportunity, every material out there. And also, the most important thing in the plan stage is application process, which we will talk about. So my preparation started, and then my preparation culminated with when I thought it was ready. And then the last one is practice. So this was my approach. And I'll go into the next slide and we jump detailed into each of them. And Dharam, do you want to add anything to what I just said?
No, perfect. Keep going.
So for all of them who are watching, my suggestion is make your purpose very clear. That's the part of journey that you travel alone and introspect. You can talk to mentor. Mentor will give you guide. Dharam gave me guidance here. I did talk to a couple of industry experts too. And as a matter of fact, I've started attracting more portfolio management roles. Just now I had an interview with one of the large consulting firm where they want account management, portfolio management with multiple running. And I told Dharam that please let's have a 30-minute delay start because the interview is running late. So people are noticing it. That when you grow up to an executive level, say at a VP level and above, portfolio management becomes key, and therefore your intent of why is very important. And for me, it was to manage P&L effectively, to drive and transformations effectively, to manage book of work effectively. So this is something, I don't want to put a time limit on this. This is something that soul searching that we do. But once we decide on it, then the activity goes very fast. The activity is very planned. Yeah, exactly. My first one was to plan, and I took about 2 weeks here. And I wanted to have it culminated. And instead of me saying I wanted to, Dharam wanted me to culminate this application by first week of lecture. I still remember after the first week, I was dragging my feet on and I was driving to a vacation. Dharam calls me from California on a Saturday, and he said, "I haven't seen your application, my friend. What's going on?" His tone was never this kind of serious ever. And he said that, "Look, you have everything. Do not over engineer stuff. Start writing and send it to me." And that kind of push is needed by the mentor, and thanks to you, Dharam, for doing that. And I think you enjoyed reading my application after that.
I couldn't find any much problem in the application. So I like to see the application which is very well thought through and written in a particular way. Of course, you've gone through some of the guidance in the video I provided, but yes, it was really nicely presented. So and the result you got from the PMI also were good, that you got very fast approval.
Yes. So application preparation is the very core of activity, and I can't stress this enough. So the application has two stages. One is that eligibility criteria. I got overnight approval. I submitted it, and the next day I called Dharam and said, "Hey, Dharam, I have been approved, eligible, and they're asking me to fill the pay the fees and fill the application form." He said, "Don't waste. While I'm on the phone, pay it." That's how he pushed me. So I did it, and I started writing the application. It involves answering 5 questions on
strategy. Karthik, let me stop you here. You already, as a part of the application, you already put all the 5 questions before you paid the fees. I don't want to get people confused. So as part of the application preparation, you have to write your portfolio description and align your portfolio with organization strategy and objective. And there are 5 questions which you have to answer beforehand, before you submit it. So once you get approval from PMI, it's a matter of paying the fees and you enter into the panel review.
Correct.
Yeah.
My application, the 5 questions, the way I structured it was, in the definition, what I learned was, by the way, my application, there was no back and forth. I submitted it once and got it right the first time. And that's the kind of results I consider as success. So, but with the help of Dharam, I did invest time to write it, think through it, and write it. I picked 2 portfolios, which I felt was significant and a good range that can showcase 2 portfolio experience in the organization, and that was what all was needed. Now, when I wrote, the first question is about, describe the portfolio to me. When they are asking for a describe the portfolio, what I heard them telling was, what I interpreted was, tell me what your role was in the portfolio. The portfolio can be great, but what was your role? And I can't emphasize it enough that is not limited. You can write as much as words you want while defining the portfolio. Make your role succinctly clear, what your role was in that portfolio, and how the portfolio is important in the organizational point of view. They are very, very specific about that. So once I wrote that, then answering the 5 domains, be it risk, be it communication, be it performance measurement, or governance or strategic alignment, became very easy for me. So that is one. And then you would be given 2 questions. You need to pick one of the 2 questions. Which answer do you want to? Did you establish? Did you modify? Something of that sort. I picked the question which touched my chord. And so when you write that answers, we have to write it in the first tense, right, Dharam? We cannot use the word we, it is a teamwork, but they want to see what I have contributed. So
the application is about you. So, you have to show that this was your work. You did it. This is how I did it. I escalated, I raised, I created the plans, and so and so. So the application should be demonstrating that work you did. not about as a collectively team, which is great when you do a speech in the organization. But when you're filling the application, it is all about me, how I did, how I created, how I initiated. Yeah.
So there are others who completed faster than me, but I told myself it's not about completing faster, it's about completing comprehensive. And in that, I also learned from others that, how to showcase what is needed to be showcased is portfolio mindset, not your project management or program management mindset. That accidentally comes in, and PMI is very keen in sending it back. The moment the tone is project or program management, they will send back the application with the question. So I didn't want that. So I went through like 2 times, 3 times on that. The 500 words limits are enforced in those 5 questions, in the 5 areas. So the once you define your portfolio, define your role, and define how it is aligned to the strategy, then it is very important to be crisp, clear on what each area is. For example, how did you manage risk? How did you deliver communications? Those will become easy, and it's a derivative. So 500 words are focused. So as you can see, in the planning stage, the most important aspect is application. Only when the applications are approved am I right, that you can schedule for examination.
Yeah.
Right?
So one thing I like to tell the PgMP aspirants, when you get email from PMI, first email from PMI, that your application is approved and you can book the exam. So the first email is not very clear. It's actually misleading. I've talked to many people and actually asked them, hey, and when they say, Dharam, my application approved. Okay, tell me, have you paid the fees? No, I will pay the fees when I book the exam. No. When you pay the fees, then only the panel review will start. And once you pay when the panel review complete, then you can book the exam. So please, read the email or message very clearly, because in the bottom of the line they're saying you can pay the fees. It is very common with PgMP PfMP application. You've done it, you think that, and you got an email, they are saying congratulations, you passed the first evaluation stage, and you assume that people are assuming that, hey, my application approved, Dharam, I will be booking my exam in 2-3 weeks. And I tell them, look, I'm asking you a silly question, please tell me if you have paid the fees. Yeah, so it's very important. And the second thing I like to tell, don't rely on PMI's email system. Don't expect that email will come on time and they will tell you. Just keep an eye on the PMI portal. Once your application gone into moving into the stages, keep an eye how they change the status on the portal. Sometimes you never get an email from them, but you will find out your result from the portal.
Correct. So thanks. And I was looking into the portal because sometimes PMI's email, it takes time. So I was every day refreshing my status, because Dharam, you used to follow up. What happened, Karthik, during the classes. And that is why I feel that while Dharam's classes are going on, if you have already completed the exam, the application, my initial application, the first approval was in a day, overnight, they came. The next one took really long after I completed the application, submitted the application to pay, to schedule the exam. That took quite some time, and there was no back and forth. So the good thing is that the way we structured was, when Dharam's classes was happening, I had already submitted application. In case there is a rework, Dharam will guide you. Dharam will say, based on the comments received, he can guide you. In our case, Dharam, you didn't have that trouble. I think we saved ourselves from that trouble.
All good.
So because of the time we invested. So I would say about 2 weeks is a good time to soak into it, review it with Dharam, find out if he has any corrections, and he would definitely give you like keywords to be used. Like I remember that he used, I used a word in risk management or in prioritization as selection criteria. He changed it into prioritization criteria. That's what you mean, and that is what selection criteria in PfMP world is different from prioritization criteria, and so on. So those inputs you can get, and your success coming out of this phase is that you're able to submit the application. Now, while planning, that is again, you have to engage your mentor. In my case, I engaged Dharam and said, Dharam, given this, your courses are happening at this stage. How do you think that I should go on a plan? So Dharam would say, first he told me is that, let me see how you perform in the class. And we took about 2 weeks, right, Dharam? And after the second week of the class, you told me that you are beginning to answer. So I think you should start on this path. So I had a very clear plan at the second or the third class start as to a target date by which I will write the examination. And my co-participants were already adding pressures. They were far ahead of me in that. So given that, I was happy to schedule the exams, and I started organizing materials. Now in planning, this is also important. There are 5 kinds of materials that the course gave me. One, the standard for PfMP. The standards, the mentor would tell which standard to prepare. I prepared for version 3, standard version 3, right? Then Dharam's case, he gave a blue book, Dharam's blue book, that very clearly articulates how each of the exam content outline tasks, and we will be talking about exam content outline in a minute, is related. He broke it down into what is needed, how it is done, and why it is done. And I started reading reverse. Why should we do this task? How should we do this task? And therefore, what is needed to do this task? So whichever way you analyze, it's a very good graphical representation he has on examination task. Then reading all of them becomes very clear. As an example, he would say, understand strategic priorities, rank them, develop criteria, rank your priorities, and then go look into components. We have a tendency to jump the stuff, but this step by step, Dharam will take you through in his blue book, which is also a reproduction, incorporates the exam content outline. That's my third source. Fourth source is that I started watching related topics in many of the articles. I started reading, be it Harvard Business Reviews, McKinsey Quarterly, or things like that. That gave me an insight of how it is practically being done. It gave me a real life applications of it. And I also looked into what I have done and analyzed. And the fifth one is exam packages, various flashcards, exam, questions and all of that, that Dharam would organize the materials for you and give it to you, including his video or audio presentations. And I would actually play, while I'm reading, I would play Dharam's videos. It would be like whenever I'm reading the word, I'll feel like Dharam is talking to me. It helped me in preparing that. And all this would be given upfront to you. So it helps you plan and organize yourself. Dharam, you want to say something?
Yeah. So I like to talk about, the material you mentioned. Currently, the standard we have to use for this exam is standard for portfolio management 3rd edition. As of now in 2021, September, the exam, the standard is, while PMI website is showing you or they're selling 4th edition, please do not fall in the trap. The exam is still based on 3rd edition. And not only 3rd edition, as you correctly mentioned, you were reviewing, watching various videos, reading different books. So you just don't put yourself or think that this is the only thing you have to read. The book is very small. If I show you, This is the book, 100 185 pages, including indexes and table of content and you know, that kind of thing. So book is very small. You don't fall into trap that, hey, the book is small, I can read it 10 times and I do some mock exam, I should be fine. No, this is not only thing you have to read. Don't have to read. You need to, as Karthik mentioned, Harvard Business Reviews and many other articles, keep an eye on the, you know, learnings happening around the world. And the most important thing, whatever you read, you should be able to visualize it. You should be able to create a logical connection among various concepts. So that is where your learning is happening. Yeah.
Then I went into the prepare phase. The prepare phase is broken into two phases. One is this courses, course weeks, and then the post-course preparation week. During the course week, I encourage that, for example, Dharam would say, hey, I am completing, today I have completed strategic alignment. And tomorrow, next week, I will be doing governance, and the materials would be already available to you. So what I would do is that I would go back. First, I would have read for strategic alignment even before coming to the exam, and then you coming to the class, and then you have 7 days in between. You have two opportunities. You have opportunities to read the strategic alignment and read it again after his classes are over, and then pre-read governance and come back. So in doing this 1+1 method, what I got advantage out of it was either I had questions for him or it became crystal clear for me. Both of them are good. And at the end of his class, there will be like 10 questions. So he would discuss answers to every question to orient your mind how to think it as a portfolio manager. And then I also started reading the standard. There is no escape. We have to read the standard. And I personally feel, compared to the PMP standard that was written, I felt PfMP standards was really well written. It was very well organized. There are some sections I really enjoyed reading, especially strategic alignments or performance measurement management. They were all really well written. Kudos to PMI. So I started reading that. And to be honest, this phase one of leveraging Dharam's class or anyone's class, whomever you're going with, is entirely upon me, right? So if I prepare more, then I get to ask more. Yep. I participate more. And then when I participate from my co-participants, there will be more. And I'll give an example. So I had read in one of the, Dharam, if you don't mind, just allow me to indulge 2 minutes. I read an article on how a retail company was entering into a new market. And we were doing the strategic alignment and prioritization, and what happened to its existing business, and how they were using the new technology to enter as a competitive field. Now, when you read this kind of article and compare it with what is written in the standards and what is written, what the market is doing, you can glean some of the good practices that they have done, and then come and share in the class. And then, for example, in the strategic alignment, there is this process of developing a roadmap or managing strategic change as one of the process. There you would understand why some of the inputs are needed. For example, why is in managed strategic plan, roadmap is needed, why you cannot do without it. You will be able to very clearly understand, because roadmap says is a process of converting assets to be vision of the organization. It gives you, and then you can relate it with this case study. So I should say that both on behalf of my participants too, we all leveraged it. We all leveraged, and one good thing that Dharam does is he creates a WhatsApp group. So there is unlimited conversations that you can have around this topic if we choose to leverage ourselves. And this helped me to leverage the 5-week course duration. And at the end of this, to be honest, I never tried any of exams while reading. I wanted to do it during your class, Dharam. And then when we started doing the answers, we used to analyze the options. You will be given 4 options instead of just picking. We started analyzing why this is not correct, why this is correct, why this is we should be evaluated. And Dharam will weigh on this. Dharam, do you want to add anything during the course?
No, that's that. The purpose of this program or group mentor program or personal mentor program is to, before coming to the session, during the course, and after that. It's a combination of everything. And more prepared, more reading, more watching you have done before, you will be more equipped. You have better questions and better discussion, and you learn more. And your answering is going to be, almost 80-100% there. That's the purpose, or that's how the program is structured. And I think the way you utilize and other participants utilize is, that's what I was expecting. If you just ask me to, hey, Dharam, can you go through slides? The slides are already gone. I've done it in the videos. I don't have to repeat them again. But I like to talk about some of the key topics and the discussion of the questions. The way we're going to, you need to think as the PMI's point of view. Yes, you are coming from bank, or other people coming from working in metal industry, or maybe some mining or some other places. I'm not saying they are doing better or good or worse. Everybody's doing the way they have matured. But here we're talking about the exam is based on PMI standard. So you need to adopt yourself as PMI expect you to think. Rather think as when you're doing a job, what PMI asks me to do. That is a better approach than or otherwise you try to use your thinking, what you do in your job into exam, it's going to be negative result.
Correct. And post preparation, I want to talk about post course preparation. Now the course is done. You have leveraged. For example, I went through a lot about what is equity protection. There is one word called equity protection. How are industries leveraging it and in their portfolio? Now I start making flashcards, study guides. Dharam will also give you, for example, he has a very good Excel, if I'm allowed to say this, Dharam,
mapping workbook.
Matching workbook, where he would say that, okay, which of the exam content outline maps to which of the processes and which stage it is in each of them. So that will give you an idea as to when there is a situation question, how do I approach with it? It's a combination of process, exam content outline, and the tools and techniques that will take you answer that question. So I started creating it like my other participants, and that forced me to understand the tools and techniques very clearly. For example, why am I using sensitivity analysis here? Why am I using elicitation technique here? What is the role of portfolio management information system here in coming to the output? So it started giving me a kind of insights. And I set myself as a target of 85 to 90% at the end of questions answers. If I get, then that is when I will move to the next topic. So Dharam gave me Ginger's questions, Ginger's workbook, Ginger Levin's 20 questions at the end of every chapter. It's very tough. I couldn't get 85% in Ginger's. I got only 55 to 60%. So I called up Dharam and said that, Dharam, I don't know what more to do, but I'm not getting it. So he said, Ginger's is tough. So if you are getting 60%, move forward with that. So with that assurance in mind, I moved to the next chapters. While preparing, there are certain nuances that we need to understand. For example, there is a tool called capability and capacity analysis, and there will be a small word. This is a constraining factor. This is a limiting factor. Catch all that. Why they are saying constraining factor, limiting factor. The questions would come in that fashion. You would be able to understand financials are limiting factor, whereas the human resources are constraining factors, and why they are doing, and they will not explain on it. That is something that you will have to read. You will have to have a discussion in the class and then talk about it. So you will get your thinking will be opened up. And once I did that, I was ready to move to a practice duration. This took me about easily, including the course end to end, it took me about 5 to 8 weeks, I have to say. And it was summer, um, and given a buffer of 1 or 2 weeks here and there in the camping that I went and other things. Predominantly, I decided to focus on. I gave myself a time commitment that come September, I should be a PfMP, no matter what. In the summer, I wanted to do this and I was committed to this. So I'm very happy that that choice that I made helped me to attain what it is in the prepare stage. Some of them are very gifted. Some of my other participants are very gifted. They could do it shorter, but it's not about getting there faster. It's about defining your own pace, defining your own rhythm, defining your own approach. And as long as there is a commitment to complete, getting there faster is not an answer. Getting there at your pace without missing out the critical elements of journey is important. That moved me into practice phase. What I did for the practice phase was I decided to break it again into 2 phases. One phase where I want to get the concepts right. So there I started taking 100 questions limit, or 50 questions limit, or something in each of the areas. Say risk management, strategic alignment, each of them. I looked into several resources, including Udemy and including a book like TWO. I started practicing those questions, 50 questions. Once I reasonably got into it, for practicing the questions and making sure that my understanding is correct, I developed what is called GYR methodology, green, yellow, red methodology. What it means is that if I'm confident enough in an answer, I would give myself 1 mark. If I have guessed, I would give myself only half mark. I call it yellow zones. And then if I had no clue about it and I got it wrong, I would call it red. So I looked after every exam, I would look into my green, yellow, red scores, and I'll minimize the yellow, so remove the guessing, and read red to revise it. Then I moved to this phase 2 of the practice, which is speed. Speed is also critical. So we have about 240 minutes and 170 questions. So roughly, I don't like to linearize it, but I would say try targeting 50 questions per hour, instead of just saying how many questions per minute, 50 questions per hour. So, and then give about 20% of the time for both. If you have to take breaks, if you have to mark for review. So given that, I started practicing. First of all, I should be able to sit for 4 hours. That was a big challenge. And again, I spoke to Dharam. Dharam guided me that morning, get up and have a meditation, focus and control your mind. And I remember both of us talking about this, Dharam. Dharam is a yoga teacher, so it comes very easy for him. I'm not so much of a yoga teacher, but I am a meditation guy. So I understood that concept. Whatever works for you, exercise, focusing, stilling the mind, whatever works for everyone. That's where the healthy habit comes. I started focusing on it and I started sitting. I was able to sit for 4 hours. And I would revise. And that came really handy on the examination day. So when I started getting 90% confidently in TWO's question, in Dharam's challenger questions, and 60 to 70% at one stage, I got in Ginger's question. Ginger has 2 practice exams. Practice 1 exam, I had got 67%, and the other one I got 75 to 80. I was jumping in joy. I said, yes, I'm ready now. The toughest one I had got the good marks. So I was ready. I targeted 85 to 90%. And I applied for exam. Now the exam itself was tough according to my standard. It was very tough. I couldn't take break. I'll just give you metrics and then you can imagine. 4 hours exam, I did not take a break. When I completed, when I was about to submit for that crucial, evaluation, there were only 3 minutes and 32 seconds left. I still remember that. And that is after the multiple dramas of the thing not working and moving me to another laptop and all of that, and also reviewing. I had marked nearly 20 questions for review, much more than I expected. I said not more than 10% of the total should be marked for review, but I had marked for 22 questions for review. So after all that, I was left exactly 3 minutes and 52 seconds, 32 seconds.
So Karthik, I like to, say a few words here. One is,
sure.
You mentioned there were some multiple dramas, some, problem, they moved you to other machine or something. It was good that it has not impacted your exam. But if for any reason, this is for the student, future PgMP or PfMP aspirants, if for any reason your exam result is negative, please talk to the Pearson people, get a reference number, and go back to PMI. And hopefully, if you have a strong case, they will give you another free exam, or they might extend your exam date as well in case you have anything with that. So please don't accept as it is. Hey, it's my luck, bad luck or something. No, if there's a problem, logistic problem, or machine not working, network is down, network is slow, please talk to the people sitting outside of the room and make sure you have a reference number from them. And if you are my student, if please contact me. Even if you're not my student, just contact me. This is the situation, what happened to me. What can I do? So I have seen many cases like that, and I think almost all of them got the free exam or extension. So, and it has not impacted you. We don't want to see that we had to, because every time you repeat, it's a pressure. But if something happened and that impacted your exam, don't take that, oh, this is my fault. This is some logistic problem.
And that brings me to an important point, Dharam. You remember that I had scheduled the exam for mid-August or end August. First time the center, they had to close it because there was some COVID case or something like that. And then the second time, because of the modernization work, it moved to a later time. But the PMI is on top of things. So they will follow up with you. They will definitely move it if it is from their side. And Pearson also is a fantastic unit. They definitely accommodated me and did that. So plan your exams for 170 minutes, for 170 questions. I would suggest plan at least 3 full practice exams, at least 3. If you can do more, great. So this is this took me, and once I submitted it, and that was the longest 30 seconds of my life, when the PMI came back and said, congratulations, you passed, and it was above target in all domains. It was a relief, and it was kudos to Dharam and my family for trusting me into this. I would definitely say a few words, Dharam, on examination itself. The kind of questions, please, I would ask everyone to prepare on value. Business value is a very important concept. So please prepare on that. Please prepare, be prepared to answer some of the questions on CPI and SPI. I got several questions on that, and some of them are composite CPIs and SPIs. So prepare. There would be, please understand some of the techniques. Say, for example, return on investment is not a time value technique, and therefore it is used for projects with a short-term horizon or something like that. So please be prepared for that. They will also test us on the concept of when a risk materializes, it becomes issue. So they would give a risk with a probability 1, they might, and then say, what is your next course of action? Would you continue, even though the impact is probability times impact is lesser than the other risks, you would still go with a developing risk response because the risk has already occurred, and it should move into issue register. So understand that how the things move. Tornado diagram, tornado charts, S curves, outcome probability analysis, sensitivity analysis, prioritization rules and techniques. These are all very important applicable concepts that they would test us on. I cannot emphasize on how important it is, for example, to know what is it in portfolio process assets that that you would take, and what is it in organization process asset that you would take for a process. For example, in a risk management or performance management plan developing, you would have both PPA and OPA. What would you take from each of them? So that I think the standard has done a fantastic job, and Dharam will also explain to you during the class. So that is something that I would definitely say. Last but not the least is understanding what is the intent of every process. Why are we doing this process? Why is it needed? And how does it align? For example, manage portfolio value and optimize portfolio are two processes, almost nearly identical kinds of tools and techniques. But why are they needed? What is needed for them? One is doing something else, one is doing something else. What is that they are doing? So, and also situation questions like, where is the funding updated? Where is the governance decision stored? Where are you are a new entrant into the market? When you hear that I'm a new entrant into the market, strategy has changed, priorities are changed, what process triggers off? There won't be a direct question, so there will be indirect questions. So I think with the preparation, everyone should be able to get, and when you have mentors, everyone should be able to get above target. I think I've said a lot.
Great stuff. You've gone into that detail. It's very, very important that I'm really appreciating that the way that the amount of work you put together in the slides, and you express everything, how to prepare your application, how to prepare, and the exam preparation, the topics. This is awesome. Thank you for taking time, and on behalf of all the PfMP aspirants, I'd like to thank you for doing a great job and becoming an inspiration to all of the people. So it's a great thing, and good to have you as a mentee or my friend like you, and who is not only doing for themselves. Everybody can do for themselves, but not only thinking, hey, I've done it, what other people can do, how other people can get benefit out of me. There are very few people you find that way. So Karthik, thank you for putting everything together and sharing your knowledge, experiences. I'm very, very happy to have you as my student, and have you in this podcast series. And the people watching this, please watch it and share with other friends. Let them also benefit. And if you think Karthik can help you somehow, or you think I can help you somehow, please reach out to me or reach out to him. And we love to. And I think you'll see a post where you can see the Karthik's LinkedIn link, as well as my, and you know how you can register time with me. Happy to talk to you and make sure your journey is smooth and successful in the shortest time. I like to see the journey of PfMP completed in 2 to 3 months, which I think you have achieved it. Another participant also achieved it, and all of you, and 72 out of 72 about target. So thank you, Karthik, for this insight, sharing your knowledge, experience with the PfMP aspirants. And I'm sure people are going to find it useful, and they will get the results, expected results.
Thank you, Dharam. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Fantastic, guys. So take care, and make sure do your job and get the results. If I'd like to see all of you go and pass the exam in the shortest time. Thank you, and take care, guys. See you soon. Bye.